storm cloud, turn a frown into a smile for free. Who's the kid with a heart full of magic? Everyone knows.
Brick!
That's me!
Have you remembered or known Kids WB? If not, then we will go over the entire history of Kids WB and how Kids WB was a major part of its time and its legacy.
It's 60 seconds and counting to Kids WB.
Which means, oh yeah, we're late!
Pinky and Brain report to Acme Labs. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, to the water tower, please. Let's have a final drop check, people.
We are now at T-10 and counting. 5, 4, 3, 2.
And now it's time for Kids WB. Whoops.
Kids WB launched on September 9th, 1995, which was about 9 months almost exactly after the launch of the WB, which was the network that Kids WB was on. In fact, one of the few reasons for Kids WB's launch was to have a new home for the Warner Brothers based animated show to come on Kids WB, as they were originally on Fox Kids, and to compete with Fox Kids as well. When Kids WB finally launched on September 9th of 1995, it was originally on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., which is the current slot that the CW uses nowadays. But back then, they originally started on that 3-hour schedule. And on weekday afternoons, they would be on from 3 to 5 p.m., and on weekday mornings. But some affiliates would air the block's weekday morning time slot at 2 p.m. to coincide with the weekday afternoon time slot from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. But they would be on a tape delay for each time zone. The first few shows, some that moved from Fox Kids, included Animaniacs.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax, you'll laugh when you collapse. We're Animaniacs.
Pinky and the Brain, which was also segments from Animaniacs as well.
Gee, Brain, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been spiced. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain.
And more newer shows such as Freakazoid.
Super team extraordinaire, Freakazoids, Freakazoids, runs around in underwear, Freakazoids, Freakazoids, rescues Washington DC, Freakazoids, Freakazoids, and have something better's on TV, Freakazoids, Freakazoids.
The Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries.
Whenever there's a crime or trouble that no one can solve at all, it seems, that's when they come and on the double, Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. It might be day or night, whenever conditions are right for them to flee. Somehow it all still fits together, Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries.
And Looney Tunes based cartoons, where they would compile a lot of cartoons, which was shown in That's Warner Brothers. By the fall of 1996, Kids WB's Saturday morning block would be expanded, just like the weekday afternoon block. But an hour more would be added later, which would be from 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday mornings. In the fall of 1996 as well, more shows would be added to Kids WB, including Superman the Animated Series, Road Rovers, Wanehead, Bugs and Daffy, and the Daffy Duck Show. The latter of which being the Daffy Duck Show would have a couple of Daffy Duck cartoons, and Bugs and Daffy would be having the Merry Melodies Bugs and Daffy related Warner Brothers cartoons. A lot of these shows aired were to capitalize on huge franchises, such as Batman and Superman. Kids WB would air on most of the affiliated the WB stations. And in some cases, they would be preempted during the block's runtime, mainly on weekday afternoons for news or other kinds of things where they have to interrupt programming. The majority of WB stations aired Kids WB except for WGN in Chicago on Channel 9. WGN would air Saturday morning newscasts and locally produced programming as well as syndicated shows instead, which would mean that WCIU, the independent station at the time, would air Kids WB. However, the superstation WGN on cable would air the Kids WB block in addition to just the WB affiliation, unlike the main station in Chicago, which would air the WB affiliation. The WGN Superstation feed gave the Kids WB shows to cable providers where they would air where there was no local WB affiliate yet for the most part. And while some areas managed to get WB affiliates on a station in their local area, other areas would get stations on cable only by 1999 when the WGN Superstation feed got rid of the WB affiliation feed, which that would be the WB 100 plus station group, which the majority of those stations did air the WB related shows, which also included Kids WB as well, and not just the WB affiliation. And that was mainly the past exclusions. So back to Kids WB, other than the past exclusions, during the same time, by the fall of 1997, around the same time in September, Kids WB's Saturday morning block would be expanded once again, over an hour earlier, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Some stations had to preempt the weekday afternoon block once the weekday afternoon block was extended, as a couple of stations like WGN, WPIX, and KTLA would air the Jerry Lewis MDA Labor Day telethon. So that means it didn't premiere until the day after that. Some newer shows premiered would be the new Batman and the new Batman Superman Adventures, which was based off the animated series that was also based on Superman and Batman. By 1998, more new shows started to air on Kids WB throughout the season, such as Hysteria, Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain, The Big Cartoony Show, and Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond would be a new type of Batman show, where you could say Batman's at least the villain. Pinky and Elmira and the Brain would be at least a spin-off show, based on the Pinky and the Brain, except they would be treated as pets. Around the same time, this was when Pokemon became very popular in America, and around the same time Pokemon premiered on Kids WB. This was right after, on some station, premiered on September 7th, 1998. And by February of 1999, Pokemon would premiere on Kids WB, and this is when Pokemon was really popular. If you want to hear more related to Pokemon and other stuff like that, check out my video on Pokemon. A link will be in the description below if you want to see that video. With the addition of Pokemon, a lot of shows such as Road Rovers and many other older shows would be replaced. This would mean newer shows and other anime-related programming would air on Kids WB. A lot of them dubbed by 4Kids Entertainment, which was the main company that dubbed Pokemon and had the rights for the American dub, or the English dub of Pokemon, for the most part. Once Pokemon started airing on Kids WB, this as well as their lineup, which had mainly animated cartoons backed by Warner Bros., helped Kids WB beat Fox Kids, its television competitor, in the ratings. Not only did Pokemon help, but many of these other newer shows of the next season helped Kids WB as well. These shows include Detention, Static Shock, and The Zeta Project. A lot of these action shows helped Kids WB make it on the map. And around the same time as new shows like The Zeta Project and The Nightmare Room premiered, Kids WB brought Toonami, which was a Cartoon Network block that had anime, which would air shows such as Pokemon, of course, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and of course other anime or action shows. And Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, for example, already aired on Toonami, which really helped good in the ratings for some of these shows. And this was the first time anime such as Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon would air on broadcast TV for the most part, as it hardly aired on independent stations and other TV stations. And mainly Pokemon and those other shows would air as well. Other shows that I mentioned before, like The Nightmare Room, would also air on the Toonami on Kids WB block. That also included shows like that were non-action as well. And mainly live action, which I thought I mentioned that for The Nightmare Room. It was a live action show that didn't have action, but it was on the Toonami block. The Toonami name would be a name for the weekday afternoon block up until 2002 in June. But around the same time, on September 3rd, 2001, the weekday morning block, which was mainly aired at 2 p.m., would mainly be discontinued, which would give affiliates to air syndicated shows, locally produced shows such as news for most stations that aired the block on weekday mornings, and talk shows as well, other than syndicated shows, would air in the slot that would replace the weekday morning block that aired mainly at 2 p.m. as well, for stations that aired the weekday morning block at 2 p.m. Which would just make weekday afternoon block for the most part be from 3 to 5 p.m. only. And this would continue for a few more years. By 2002, when Toonami on Kids WB was long gone, around that same time, other Cartoon Network shows such as the Powerpuff Girls started to air on Kids WB. This would mostly be to promote the Powerpuff Girls movie, which would premiere in theaters on July 3rd of that same year, in 2002. And during that same year, other than bringing Cartoon Network shows and other anime that air on Cartoon Network to broadcast TV, around the same time, more new shows started to premiere in the next season. This would include Mucha Lucha, What's New Scooby-Doo, and the Osmosis Jones spin-off show, Ozzy and Drix. If some stations didn't air any syndicated shows around that time, or talk shows, they would also include infomercials, which would either include one show of those exact genres, or a 30-minute or to an hour-long block of infomercials, whichever one the affiliates would choose. Other anime-related shows that have aired on Kids WB, other than Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, which air on Toonami on Kids WB, and Pokemon, include Card Captors and Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Was another one of those animes that were acquired from 4Kids Entertainment, which they first aired mainly on Kids WB. Kids WB is promoting their Saturday morning block more with Fresh and New Saturday. Newer shows from that time included The Batman, Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island, Lunatics Unleashed, and Johnny Test. And by that time they were promoting the Saturday morning block more. In May 31st of 2005, the WB had announced that Kids WB's weekday afternoon block would be discontinued, mainly due to the local affiliates. And the local affiliates didn't want Kids WB or any afternoon cartoons to air on their affiliates anymore, because they think that a lot of the viewers have switched to cable and started to watch more Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, meaning that not a lot of kids were watching the Kids WB block, and that more people had cable, which was debatable. So that means, other than the other parts of Kids WB's schedule that was already replaced, the 3 to 5 p.m. block would later be replaced by Daytime WB, in which Daytime WB would later air talk shows. Talk shows they aired in recent years included Bill Cunningham Show, Robert Irvine, and now Jerry Springer. But when they started to air sitcoms such as Reba, What I Like About You, and other reruns. So that would completely replace Kids WB's weekday afternoon block. And Kids WB would mainly promote their Saturday morning shows, and they would also promote Cartoon Network shows as well, which would be pretty confusing for those who didn't have cable or satellite watching promos for stuff that aired on Cartoon Network and Cartoon Network related stuff. Around the same time, Kids WB also aired other shows from Cartoon Network, such as Teen Titans and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. The WB itself would later be replaced by the CW on most affiliates. And with that, daytime WB continued as daytime the CW and would air those shows that I've mentioned before. And Kids WB would still continue, but only as a Saturday morning block. With the weekday afternoon block no longer airing, Kids WB moved to Saturday mornings only. And a few years before, they expanded the Saturday morning block from 7 a.m. to noon. I just thought I'd mention that because that would be a vital part in Kids WB becoming Saturday morning block mainly. Along with their current shows, the only other new shows they aired were Tom and Jerry Tales, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue, and Legion of Superheroes, which were the only Warner Bros. Programming that aired. Other new shows were mainly from 4Kids, or acquired from other companies, such as World of Quest, Crypto the Superdog, Will and Do It, and Eon Kid. Finally, on October 2nd of 2007, the CW announced that they would be partnering with longtime programming acquirer 4Kids Entertainment, which was known for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And they would partner to air a new block which would replace Kids WB. One of the reasons being that the CW replaced the WB, and there wasn't a lot of WB shows airing anymore. This was, of course, other than my reasons, through a joint decision between the parents Time Warner and CBS Corporation, which both own the CW. This was also because of cable competition, which was one of the main reasons why the weekday afternoon block had shut down. So this would mean that the 5-hour Saturday morning block would, of course, be sold to 4Kids Entertainment. And by 2008, on May 24th, 2008, Kids WB would become the CW 4Kids. Which Kids WB's final day would be on May 17th of 2000. And that was pretty much all. CW 4Kids managed to last 4 years, but would be under Toonami from 2010 to 2012. And it would also change to Vortex, which would be the last Saturday morning cartoon block that would air on the CW up until September 27th of 2014. And yeah, that was about it. Kids WB had a really good legacy, and during its time, it was a really fun block. That block had a lot of contests and great shows, and it was a good competitor to Fox Kids. In fact, shows such as Pokemon helped put Kids WB on the map, and helped make Kids WB become really successful. Although some others would say that 4Kids ruined Kids WB, because with the success of Pokemon and other shows, which would end by the time, which a lot would end by 2006, by the time WB would air into the CW, this would make 4Kids Entertainment have control of the block by the time the CW replaced the WB, and it was the reason why Kids WB became the CW 4Kids. But that was debatable, because Kids WB was really successful. It's just that never happened until the WB got low ratings, and until the weekday afternoon block shut down, and Kids WB became a Saturday morning only block. So for the most part, up until the mid-2000s, Kids WB was very successful. What became of Kids WB was that Kids WB would just be an online only site, which would continue to be an online only site for a few years until that shut down as well. Anyways, that was all for this video on Kids WB. As always, I thank you all for watching the Nostalgia Network. And I would like to thank anybody who's continued to watch, and the success of my videos on the old Cartoon Network and Jetix. I would also like you to check out my other videos about historical stuff, if not stuff about TV, if you're interested in that. And please be sure to check out my other channel, Brick's Vids, for vlogs, rants, live streams, electronics related videos, commentaries, and many other stuff. So please, check out Brick's Vids. A link to that will be in the description below. Anyways, that was about all for my video. If this video becomes successful, there will be a video on Fox Kids as well, which was Kids WB's main competitor, and a lot of the stuff related to Fox Kids. So if you like this video, let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you want a Fox Kids related video. Anyways, that was about all. This has been Brick Johnson from the Nostalgia Network, and I'm out.